Good afternoon, family. In about 5 minutes, I'll be closing the caskets with the mic. Just say your goodbyes now. Now I'll be gone. Thank you. Chapel in the cooler, and our restrooms are located on this side of the building if you ever need them.
In the waters of baptism, Owen died with Christ and rose with him to new life. May he
For everybody that does not know me, my name is Charlotte Spence, and formal cousin of Mr. Owen Nov.
Dad had a great life. My favorite memory with my dad was
My name is Erin, and I'm Owen's eldest daughter. Before I just get into it, I would just like to thank you all for coming out today in support of my dad's sunset, as we like to call it. And I'd also like to thank the people who've helped and supported my mom, my grandpa, and my siblings throughout this time. Most of you knew Owen as a brother, a friend, a relative, or even a husband, but I personally knew him as my dad. As a little kid, my dad always encouraged me to try new things. I remember how scared I was when I first started learning how to ride a bike, and my dad kept telling me to push harder and harder on the pedals. And even though I wanted to give up so badly, to the point where my eyes were burning as I was trying not to cry, he repeated himself over and over again until I heard him say, "I'm not pushing you anymore." And that's when I realized he let go, and I was actually doing something on my own. As I grew older, the thought of being pushed around was something I didn't like. Yet, my dad always kept pushing me at one point to get my driver's license, which is something that I now cherish for the rest of my life. I remember how dedicated he was to help me pass. He took the time to make a student driver's sign for me, and to make cones out of plastic and concrete just to teach me how to park a car. And when I was crying in the back seat after I failed my first test, he cheered me up, telling me that he failed his test many, many times in the past. No matter how many times I ever felt upset, annoyed, or sad, my dad would always give me positive reassurance. He never saw anything in a negative way and always had a positive attitude. Despite our family circumstances of having a breadwinner wife, 2 autistic children, a demanding father-in-law, and a moody older daughter, my dad always saw the good in our situation, worked hard, and always had us at his best interests. And not only was he thinking of us, but he also took the time out of his day to help his siblings, his nieces and nephews, and his friends. It made me realize that my dad is not just my dad. He was a father figure to many people. Although love languages are more associated with romantic relationships, in a way, I kind of felt like my dad was acts of service. He would always go out of his way to fix the sink at my aunt's house, to pick up our prescriptions, and to buy donuts every Friday for my sister, her class, my brother's bus driver, and of course, he would always get me my favorite sandwich. No matter what was happening in our lives, and especially with mine, my dad was always very supportive of my actions. Every time we disagreed on something, he'd always give up and let me win. Every time I went out with my friends, or I went to events on my own, or went shopping by myself, he always let me go. And no matter what time I went home, he would always wait for me, sitting on the brown recliner in our living room and rewatching Hell on Wheels. He always supported my hobbies, my interests, and encouraged me to have a social life with my friends and my cousins. He wasn't a strict parent at all, and I had a lot of respect for him because we both had trust in each other. During the time he was sick, he always told me that it was okay to be sad, but not to worry about him. Despite being in the hospital, he kept encouraging me to live my life, and so I did. At some point in time, my dad told my mom and I that everything has an end, and he's right. But before I end this very important chapter in my life, I have to give gratitude to my dad. My dad always had me at his best interests, and now it's my turn to have him at mine. Though there are a lot of memories that are impossible to describe on paper, I'll always remember his devotion for me and my siblings. I'll definitely miss moments of him driving us everywhere, his baby talk with our pets, and even his loud, annoying action movies he would watch all day long. The sacrifices he made to help me become the best daughter I can is something that I will always remember, for having a dad is one of the greatest privileges I've ever experienced. Even if he's not here physically, I am very lucky to have someone I can call my dad. I hope someday, in whatever way it chooses to present itself, that our roads will meet at an intersection. And if that day ever happens, I hope to see him riding in his old red convertible while wearing his tan and blue denim varsity jacket. For there's so much more to life if you continue to push yourself. Though the world will continue to move on, and I have to keep moving forward, I know that my dad will always be there to protect our family and to steer us in the right direction. So thank you, Dad, and thank you everybody for listening.
To come up to say goodbye to Owen, feel free. It would be an absolute pleasure.
They're leaving.